Hey, 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 what's up, everyone? First off, y'all know what I have to do. I got to make sure everything is working on the platforms. Let me check my LinkedIn yet. So when y'all click join, I want to make sure y'all able to. That works great. Let's look at Instagram. Yep, that looks great. Great. Now, just want to give you some, background. My camera is up here and my computer's down here. So you might see me bounce back and forth. I'm paying attention to y'all. I'm actually looking at y'all right now on the console. But welcome to this live event. We're going to be talking about how to build the ultimate support system for your tech journey. All right. I have someone here that I admire, and we've been working together to really foster a community for people just like you to level up your tech game. And let me get my comments on. First of all, if y'all can hear and see me and hear all of us, put the LUs in the chat. I just want to make sure because I don't want to go on and someone says, I can't hear the sound is not right, or I can't see you. All right. So put the LUs in the chat. I want to make sure everything is ready to go. Let's see. And you might have some delay, so we might have to keep moving and then we'll see some LUs in the chat. Okay. So I want to introduce a great friend of mine. All right. This person is the managing director for Scholas Greater Boston. All right. I want y'all to give it up for HK Howard. Hey, HK, thank you so much for joining us here. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks so much for having me today. I'm really excited for this conversation.
Yeah, for sure. I think for those of you who are here, what you need to do is get your notes because we're going to be dropping some gems. And this is something that you're going to want to hear. Everyone goes through this imposter syndrome thing. Everyone needs a support system when you're on your journey trying to get into tech because it's not easy, right? And we understand because I've been through it and we've been around people who every day goes through it. So by giving advice, even mentoring, we see the ins and outs of this thing, and we here to just support you to help you understand what you need to do to be successful as well. All right. So with that being said, we're gonna get through to the meat and potatoes because I see the LUs in the chat, so I see they can hear and see as well.
Here.
All right. So HK, can you give us a story about a relatable story about your imposter syndrome and what you've been through?
Yeah, sure. Well, in full transparency, I'm feeling a little bit of imposter syndrome right now because this is my first LinkedIn live. But, to the point about how important your support system when we were backstage, you were pumping me up, giving me a little pep talk, telling me I could do this. So that
You
right there,
did. You're doing it. You're doing it
helped me
right
get over the hump. But in all seriousness, one of the times that I feel imposter syndrome the most is when I walk into a room for the first time where I don't necessarily know anyone, or it's just a new community for me. So, for example, as part of this role at Scholas Greater Boston, like to do a lot of networking with tech employers and tech executives on behalf of our grads. And when I first got this role, one of the first huge events that I went to was at Gillette Stadium, held by Sim Boston. So you can imagine, huge, stadium, over 600 senior level IT professionals in the room,
Mhm.
mostly men, mostly 15 to 30 years older than me, right? I just walked in and was like, wow, is this like, do I belong here? And who am I going to talk to? And are they going to think that I am legitimate, like that I should be in this space? But, as we do at Scholas, we roll deep with, some of my colleagues, some of our alumni. So I had my support system there with me, including, some of my colleagues who had been to this event before. And by having, a couple people to start to walk around and meet other folks with, I started to warm up, started to feel a little easier. And I've been back to that event a couple of times since, and have even gotten to speak at a panel at that event since that then. So that kind of initial feeling of walking in and feeling like, do I belong? But knowing, I have my support system around me really helped me get over that hump.
No, that's awesome. I mean, it's awesome that you really just putting it out on the table, right? Because I'm pretty sure everyone that's on here feel the same way. And I'm just going to put it out on the table too. Like I feel the same way before every live. Even though I'm backstage pumping you up inside, I'm like, man, don't mess this up, man. You know, people come here to get, but it's just the fear and the lies that the imposter syndrome tells us about, oh man, the worst case scenario is going to happen. And really, you understand that none of it is true when you start to do it. See, we're talking right now, right? We're having a conversation and everything is great. People are listening, they're here for the gems. And, you know, we're just going to make sure we give them the value that they came for. Now, for me, that's one. It really, every time I go on live, or even every time I go somewhere and speak, or you know, just somewhere someone doesn't know me, I'm always feeling like, all right, you know, do you belong here? You know, people are so much more smarter than you, and these
Mm.
things I have to really just tell myself they're normal feelings. The thing that really helps you get through is just doing it anyway. And I'll tell this story all the time, and some of you may have heard it, but even when I was getting into tech, I was using a platform called Linux Academy, which is now Pluralsight now, for training and everything. And I went after a role that was open at Linux Academy. And you got to understand, like, my background is super diverse. Like, I was a musician. Well, I was a singer and rapper, and I was touring. So we were performing in front of thousands of people. I used to do sneaker reselling, and we would go to conferences and do deals with hundreds of people, and thousands of people would be there. So when I got into this interview and this gentleman told me that I had to do a demo to showcase something that I learned, to just see how I can train and mentor other people that I will be working with in a role. I've done music videos, I performed, but this little 3-minute video that this gentleman had me make intimidated the crap out of me, to the point that the imposter syndrome set in so much that I literally told my wife, and in bed, I was like, hey, I'm going to email such and such, and I'm going to let them know that, hey, I appreciate the opportunity, but I don't think this role is right for me. All because I was scared of doing the video that he asked me to do. And she was like, if you don't get your beep up out this bed and go do that video and change your life, I'm going to smack you. And I was like, man, I'm sitting there about to throw away an opportunity. And I did the video, and he came back, was like, man, you crushed the video. You did a great job, but we're not going to hire you for this role because people in this role already have 5 to 6 years of experience and they come from this type of background. And I was like, man. But he said, however, I just created a role for you yesterday. Here is the job description and here is the salary. Let me know what you think. I took a look at that salary and job description. I was like, hey, look, I accept right now, you know. So just it's all about doing it anyway and not being scared. You know, imposter syndrome is a lie, and we're gonna help you get through that today, y'all. So I hope these stories relate. I know you probably feel a certain way too as you work your way through the tech journey. But you know, I want to also just ask you, HK, like, you know, what do you think about how support systems combat these challenges through, you know, trust and action?
Yeah, yeah, great question. So you mentioned that little voice in your head, right? That's telling you you're not smart enough, you can't do this. Do I even belong here? And it's the support system that is actively and very vocally, or right, calming that voice down and actually telling you the exact opposite, right? You can do this, you are smart enough, you're capable enough, you do belong here. And it is only by, I really think, surrounding ourselves with that support system that we can tamper that voice down enough to, let us take the next step.
So really just to piggyback on what you said, like we had this little support system before the live, like just you and I. So the
Yeah.
support system doesn't have to be this huge community of people that you have to find if you don't want, right? The support system can be literally just buddies just checking in on each other like, yo, you got this, just reinforcing everything that you already feel inside, right? Because on this journey you're doing everything you already know you can do, right? But what's happening is the mindset that you have is taking over everything else. So like, you know, I can do this. You know, you can be successful. But the imposter syndrome comes and lies and says, no, you can't. You don't even belong there. People are so smart. Look at you. You dumb. You don't even know now. You can't even count to 1, 2, 3. You can't even do none of it. You believe it.
Yeah.
No matter how crazy or it sounds or stupid it is, we believe it because we don't know what the future holds. And that's where the anxiety comes. We fear what we don't understand as well. So all the fear because we don't understand what's going to happen. We don't know what the future holds. It just is overwhelming. And sometimes it paralyzes people in their tracks. And matter of fact, let's take a poll, right? Raise your hand right now if you ever felt that you don't belong in tech. I want to see this, right? I know we might be a little bit delayed or, but raise your hand if you ever feel like I don't belong here, or they're so much more smarter than me, or I'll never make it, or I would never get a job. I want to see. And matter of fact, I'm gonna put. Can I comment in here too? Nope, I can't comment in there. But I'm gonna raise my hand too because even
Yeah,
as people consider me as a leader in this industry, sometimes I feel like I don't belong here. But guess what? Guess what?
you do.
We wind this back and we got to say to ourselves what we truly believe. I am smart. I am powerful. I am healthy. I am able, right? Anything anyone can do in this industry, I'm able to do. There's no bubble that Elon Musk walks around with that says, I can't do what he can do. Some of you may or may not believe that, but what he is doing, someone else would do and go far beyond. Trust me, that's just what it is. It's nothing that says, okay, I see one hand. We got
Yes.
so the rest of y'all don't feel that way.
Thanks for your honesty.
Yeah.
Because we know everybody has that voice creep in at some point.
Absolutely. So right now we're going to talk about finding mentors, right? Why finding mentors matter. Okay, we got some hands coming in here, right?
Yes.
I want to help you understand really clarifying the differences between formal mentorship programs and really identifying and cultivating your own relationship with mentors. Um so HK, I know you was talking about this earlier, but what kind of examples of some mentorship programs that you have off the top of your head?
Yeah, sure. So, there's lots of different programs out there that can connect you with mentors depending on, what you're looking for. So, one of the ones that we like to recommend to our cyber learners is a local program through the Mass Cyber Center that basically is very structured, requires, pairs you up with a cybersecurity professional and then requires a certain level of meetings as well as a type of project that you work on together. So that's an example of a structured mentorship program, right? The mentor is selected for you. There's certain expectations and things that you work on together. And I think there's huge benefits to that, right? It gives you a shared goal. It gives you, reasons to come together and helps you maybe meet someone that you wouldn't otherwise meet and have those regular touch points with them through the course of which you can develop a relationship. But I guess before we go on to informal mentorship programs, do you have formal mentorship programs you want to recommend?
So off the top of my head, I know AWS have the community builders program
Mhm.
where, it's I want to say thousands of community builders that's really helping people going through skill builders and joining those communities around the world. So like AWS has a great free community mentorship pairing program. Um, the rest of them are really not formal mentorship programs, but there are communities that we'll talk about um, in a few, really. So, Mass Cyber Center, which is Massachusetts Cyber Center, right, with the
That's
cyber
right.
mentors, and then AWS Community Builders as well. But for informal, it can be anyone, right? A colleague at work, someone you met at a networking event, someone you met on LinkedIn, right? And this is one of the most important things. If you're actually without anyone that's giving you some advice, reach out to people in a proper way. So I get messages every single day of someone just comes in my inbox and they'll say, "Hey, Brothers, this is me. This is what I'm doing. I did all the list. I did all of that, but I want to, see if you got 15 minutes so we can sit down and map a complete roadmap of what it's going to take for me to land a hot paying job in cloud." And I'm like, man, I don't even have the time to do that, right? Not, so I can give you some advice and point you in the right direction, but really to sit down and map your entire career out is something that a lot of people are not going to have time to do, right? So you shouldn't expect people to be involved in your career as much as you are, right? Or let's rewind this. Some people want other people to be involved in their career more than they are. So I'm just going to give you some examples of a perfect way to reach out to someone. You can come in on LinkedIn, send them an invitation, and you can say, "Hey, such and such, my name is Broadus. I'm actually a teller from BB&T, but I'm working so hard to transition into a cloud engineer role. Lately, I've been doing the AWS Solutions Architect Associate exam, and I was wondering if you could put me in the right direction of maybe one or two things I can do after the exam to really help boost my skills. Um, if you can do that, I'll be super grateful. Thank you so much for your time. That is exactly for me how you can get my attention or someone like me attention to be like, yeah, man, this is something you should be doing right now. Boom. But when you come and say, hey, can you straighten out my light player? That's not gonna work. Like, can you help me get to the mountaintop? I want you to tell me step by step, tool by tool, cert by cert, what I need to be doing so I can land that type of role. That's probably not going to happen. All right. So just want to give you some advice, start with the warm connection if, you're on LinkedIn, but really, uh, meetups, um, Twitter, open source projects can really help you get the handshakes you need. Right. So like even joining discourse and just not being afraid to put yourself out there. So that's how you're going to get, like, mentors are not going to come to you,
No.
right? So you have to push yourself out of your comfort zone to reach out to someone. And for that, I'm going to give you kudos, right? But when you reach out, you just have to reach out the right way because you got to make sure you understand and value their time and know that they're busy. And sometimes you may not get a response, and that is okay. That doesn't mean that person doesn't want to help you. That just means that person is probably just so busy that they probably get so many messages. Your messages might got lost. So it's important to follow up too. All right. So if you go to an event and you introduce yourself and you connect with someone, when you leave that event, make sure you follow up. That's super important. Put in the chat, I will follow up. I want to see that because I ain't seen them but a few hands of people that said they had imposter syndrome. So I know all y'all lying, but now we're gonna put I will follow up in the chat. Let me see that. I want to see it. I know we got a delay, but I
I love
want to
that.
see it. Any other
Well,
ideas, HK?
yeah, I was just going to say while we're waiting for folks to put I will follow up in the chat, I wanted to just point out a couple of the things that you mentioned in your example, Bradis, as to what works in terms of outreach, right? So, one, in that example you gave, it really speaks to the person you're reaching out to, their expertise, right? They clearly did their research, knew you had expertise in what it takes to get into the cloud engineer role. And then they asked you really kind of succinct and pointed questions that you could really quickly, but also knowledgeably answer to point them in the right direction, right? That is a really easy ask, but it also shows that they did their homework on you, which is, the most likely way to get a response. The other thing that I'll say is is most likely to get a response is just asking someone to share their career journey, right? So that you can learn from it. People love to talk about themselves, right? You and I wouldn't be here if we didn't like, to some extent, talking about ourselves and sharing our journeys. And so that's another way to reach out to folks. And I said I would I'd share an example of some LinkedIn outreach that I actually did this week. So to share a quick story, we at Scholas Greater Boston are in the process of launching a new training track for Salesforce administrator. So I need to get smart on Salesforce. My team needs to get smart on Salesforce so that we can start to open up doors on behalf of our learners and graduates. So we did some research, figured out who are the Salesforce administrator community leaders of different subgroups, different networking groups in Boston. And then I reached out to 6 of them on LinkedIn, a little bit of a tailored message asking them to share a bit about their career journey. And here, I'll even just share my LinkedIn here, the messages I sent. So really quick.
Hold on, let me put this on stage real quick.
Oh, can you see me?
Okay.
Can you see
Can y'all see that? Can y'all see the messages there? Blow it up like you just had it.
Oh,
It
like
was,
that?
Yep, just like that. Can y'all see the messages? Yes, put yes in the chat if y'all can see this. You want to make sure y'all able to get this value. I know it'll probably be a little delayed, but I just want to see one yes. If I get one yes, I know everybody else can see it. Can y'all see the screen that she just shared? Where you at? Where the one? Where the yes? Let me give me one. Drum roll, please. Drum roll. Where we at? All right. Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Okay. All right.
So basically just following the example that you verbalized, right? Introduce yourself, say who you are and why you're reaching out. And then I just asked, would you be open to a quick conversation so we could learn from your career path and about this group that you lead, right? And I customized each of these to the 6 different people I reached out to. And I got 2 responses. And one of them I've already had a conversation with, and then went to a networking event that he suggested and met him in person. And this person, Jordan, I'm in the process of, setting up a conversation with. So I guess just a couple of takeaways from that too, right? Really succinct, clear message asking them to share their story, but also not everybody responded to me, right? I got 2 out of 6. That's pretty good. Got a lot of value out of the conversation I had so far. Hoping to get more value out of the conversation I'm still working to set up. And it's okay. I'm not going to take it personally, right? That not everybody responded to me. Maybe I'll see them at a future Salesforce event and can follow up again from there. Or like you said, I can be persistent and reach out again, and maybe they'll get me on the second or third try.
Nah, that's super dope. That was some value right there, because this is all about, really, you got to put yourself in a mind frame a little bit as a business too, right? Where you're reaching out and nurturing people to really help you along, getting information that really can, you're getting information and data that really can help you build a better service or product, which is your skills. So if you look at it from that standpoint and you're reaching out to people that really can help and guide you, you want to make sure you want to learn more about them as well. Like she said, we love talking about ourselves, right? We love, and in talking about ourselves, we can give you a lot of the gems that you're looking for. You won't even have to ask the questions of what you need, because we're going to give it to you because we're talking about ourselves. Now, with that being said, if you're online, we're doing this, but it's tons of free events that are around. And I know from my standpoint, like, you can go to meetup.com and look at any local tech meetup that's around in your area. But also, like, you got AWS summits that are free that's around the country, that probably hitting every major metro hub that's around. So might require a little traveling on your part if you live outside of a major city, but it's a perfect opportunity to get to where thousands of people are going to be for free and network, especially if you're on the AWS track or you're trying to land a role that uses AWS. Microsoft, I'm not sure if they have all those types of events around the country. I know they have Microsoft Ignite, but that's not a free event. Any events in your area, HK?
Yeah, so I'm in Boston, and the tech hub in the Boston area is Kendall Square, and there's a bunch of regular meetups and free events there. So there's an awesome event that goes on every Thursday night called Venture Cafe, and it's free, and it even has free drinks, and it has different panels and a lot of networking. So have made some great connections there, and it's also just fun, right? There's also MIT Open Space does a monthly over lunchtime speed networking event, which I love, and we love to bring learners to because it just forces you to network, and you can never get stuck in
Let's
like
go.
an awkward conversation because the bell's going to ring and you're going to have to move on to the next one. So it's great practice, and get some good connections out of that too. And then there's another great series called Tech Runs Boston that's put on by the Massachusetts Technology Leadership Council, and it's specifically for young professionals in tech. So it's a great way to meet and form that kind of peer group in the space that might be doing similar roles at different companies.
Nice, nice. So we've given you a list of things you can do to go and network. So you have no excuses. Look at me. You have no excuses. Meetup.com, AWS summits. You can we go to places that she's mentioned in Boston. And I'm pretty sure just from just looking at events in your city, you'll find something, or in your town, right? You'll find something nearby that you can go to and really connect with people that you really didn't probably know that was in that space where you live. So you could probably connect to someone that's in cloud computing and probably working at a company that you've been looking at, and you're like, oh my God, like I didn't even know, that's how things happen. That's how the magic happens. All right. So if this has been valuable for you so far, put the gems in the chat. I want to make sure we're giving y'all value, right? I want to make sure I'm not wasting your time. We're not sitting here, shooting our mouths off and y'all just like, oh my God. If this has been valuable, put the gems in the chat. But next, we're going to talk about really leveraging free resources, right? Because this can lower, your barriers to action because it doesn't have the financial pressure. So we're gonna give y'all some game around here. So, number one, there are tons and tons of free resources to help you kickstart your career. All right. So we got okay. I want to make sure this is amazing advice. Okay. All right. Value, value, value.
Love
All right.
it. Love it.
Somebody talking in talking about, hey girl. Hey girl. All right. So we got platforms like Free Code Camp. All right. So Coursera allows you to uh I guess do a free trial or get some courses for free as well in audit mode. We got YouTube University.
Yes.
All right, we got YouTube University. I know right now Code Cloud is doing a free week as well. I know Pluralsight does free weeks. It's tons of free resources to help kickstart your career. There's no excuse of why you can't Google and get on YouTube and just learn a subject. Matter of fact, outside of the courses, outside of the platforms, you have the documentations for, oh my God, what is a EC2 in AWS? Or what is a virtual machine in Azure? Or what is blah, blah, blah in Salesforce, right? They have the documentation. You can always read up. You can always really just look at what it is and how it works to just get a fundamental understanding of how you can solve problems with it. We got GitHub. These are the tools you can use. GitHub for projects. There's so many projects that's on GitHub. It's not even funny. All right, you got so many thousands and thousands of projects. You have so many repos that one repo can have enough projects for it to take your career to the next level if you just look and be disciplined in doing them. And it could be even from a beginner level all the way to an advanced level. All right. Code pen for practice. You got, oh my God, I just ran across a Linux environment that was good for practice. I'll research it and try to let y'all know by the end of the talk. But these tools are here to help you really build the skills you need, right? And you can learn to speak the language of the field that's really going to help you build your career. That's really it. And it's going to help you feel like you belong.
Yeah, I think that's so important, right? Is that building those skills is also going to combat that imposter syndrome, right? That's saying you don't belong, you're not smart enough, because now you have the knowledge and you have the language, to talk the talk of the other folks in the space.
Yep.
To your point about like getting started with these free resources, I actually just had a conversation yesterday with a young woman who's working in compliance at a financial services institution here in Greater Boston. And she was saying to me, I really want to get into cybersecurity. I am kind of debating, like, do I do a certification? Do I go back and get a bachelor's degree? Like, what's the right path for me to take? And I was encouraging her to get started with some of these free resources. We talked specifically too about Google's cybersecurity certificate, right, as one way she might get started.
Yep.
Basically, to your point, brought us to try and see what piques her interest before she commits, to a full-time boot camp program or to, pursuing a degree to test the waters and feel out, cybersecurity is so broad. What is the kind of pillar or path that I want to pursue within cyber and
Because
free
like,
resources? Yeah.
yep,
Go
because
ahead.
when you got to understand, like, even if you learn something and you don't like it, you can always pivot. And guess what? The information that you learn just goes with you. Everything that you learn can be used. So it's never lost knowledge, right? So if someone who's working on an A+, it's like, I want to work on my foundational knowledge, and then they're like, oh man, I just and they just go on and just start learning something else. The knowledge that they gain from learning the A+ certification is going to be used as foundational knowledge moving forward in their career. So we want you to understand, like, these things that we tell you as far as free resources, some may not get you all the way to the level that you want to be, right? However, it is a great start. And it's a great start for you to invest your time to, how can I say this? To create the consistent behavior and discipline that you need. So
Yes.
when you get into a full-blown program, or if you go to college or university or whatever for this, you've already created the habit of continuous learning. That is a big thing, right? And that's one thing that really, two, uh gives people imposter syndrome. When they see the work that's required or the time they may have to commit, all of a sudden these lies come in their head, like, well, what if you dedicate all this time and it doesn't work? What if you dedicate all this time and you don't be successful? I'm here to tell you right now, right? I'm looking at you right now, whoever you are. You will always get your return on investment if you don't quit. It doesn't matter if it take you 6 months, 12 months, 18 months. You will always get your return on investment if you don't quit. The moment you quit, the moment you let the imposter syndrome take over and tell you that you're a failure and you believe it and you quit, it's the moment that everything that you have done will go to waste. All right. So what I'm doing right now, um, is really just what we're doing right now is just really helping you understand. Now, don't get stuck in this phase where, um, you're just always questioning yourself. Where should I go? I don't know where to go. Oh my God, I'm scared to make a decision because I'm going to fail. Just take action now. So what I'm doing is I'm putting some resources in here. I got to put them in the banner, y'all. I'm just being straightforward with y'all so we can show. All right. So here's one resource. We put in links in here so y'all can take the links and y'all can go and start learning. All right. First link, professormess.com. That's something you can start right now. I heard Professor Messer's name across all foundational tech students that are learning the foundation building blocks of tech right now. All right. Try Hackney if you're in the security, um, pen testing, anything. Try Hack Me is a free to low cost option. And I think it's like $10 a month, I believe. I could be wrong.
Yeah, it's affordable.
Yeah, it's super affordable where you can go and start learning now. All right.
Mhm.
Trailhead.salesforce. No, go ahead. I'm sorry. You about to
Yeah,
say?
I was just gonna add on to try hack me. I was in a conversation recently with a like a CIO, a leader in cybersecurity, and he was saying, you know, if somebody doesn't have work experience in cyber on their resume, but they list that they use try hack me, we'll go on and look at their projects, right? So it's a way to both test out your skills, but also to potentially, you know, build out your project portfolio and your resume.
Yeah, that is awesome. Think about that. He she gave you the keys. This guy just said, if we see try hack me on here, we'll look at their project. So guess what you have to have next?
X.
Projects. Project. And sorry, y'all, I got these big windows in front of me. The sun decides after 18 years of snow and ice, it wants to come out and beam on this beautiful skin and
It
shine.
looks good. It looks good. It's
Excuse me
still
if it's
raining and
not that
snowing
you
in Boston.
So the next one we have is trailhead.salesforce.com. Right. If you're looking at to get into Salesforce, and Salesforce is becoming huge right now. A lot of companies use Salesforce. Government sector, all of that uses Salesforce. Get in there, understand what it is, learn something. You might like it and you might want to continue. All right. Now, that's a form of cloud that you can really get into that pretty much can help you land a job almost anywhere. All right.
Yeah.
Now, since we're talking about cloud, learn.microsoft. Microsoft has so many paths, cert paths, systems, and tool preps. Like it's step by step. If I want to learn Microsoft Dynamics, step by step how I can learn dynamics. I could be a developer, admin, whatever the case may be. If I want to learn Kubernetes and working with Kubernetes in Azure, I have it step by step. If I want to just get my AZ 900 or 104 or whatever it is, step by step, what I need to learn in hands on opportunities for me to get that certification and get experience working in Azure. And skillbuilder.aws. There's plenty of resources. AWS has the same cert paths, uh, even role paths, right? I want to be a cloud engineer. I want to be a developer, DevOps. I want to go into, I think FinOps they have as well. You can use these services, these platforms to really help you build something that you never thought you could really build. All right. So once again, is this valuable? Put the gems in the chat. I see somebody put the gems, but I think he was late on the last time I asked. But I want to see I put the gems in the chat once again if this is valuable to you all. All right.
I
So
would say too, yeah, if you have other free resources that you've been using and have found valuable, drop those in the chat too, right? We're building community here as well, and we want to help each other out.
yep, drop the resources if you have them. So because we didn't touch on all of them, but you might say, I've been keeping this man because I ain't want too many people be on it because I want put it in there. Share,
Yeah.
share. All right. So we're going to talk about now how you can join or even create a learning community. And this is for like, you got to understand, this is super important because you're going to be connecting with people that are just like you. Right. So this is a story that I always say to people that are in level of a tech. You can be working with peers and the whole time you could be struggling on something, imposter syndrome just knocking on your head, telling you, see, you can't even get that right. You're not even good enough. And then you can look at John or you can look at, whoever, Heather, right? And you can say, man, John and Heather are just killing it. Like, I wish I could be more like them because they seem to get it. And I'm not getting it. I'm not good enough. I swear I'm not. And the whole time, John and Heather looking at you like, oh my God, Rod is over there killing it. I wish we could be just like him
So
because
true.
he seems like he has it all together. Whole time, y'all not even talking to each other to really understand, like, we're both on the same wavelength. We're both learning the same thing. This is why it's important to not only just build community, right? But use it. And it builds trust because it normalizes the struggles and fosters accountability. Y'all create accountability partners. All right. So plenty of communities out there. You got Reddit. What is it? Reddit got the learn programming subreddit. Reddit has the cloud subreddit. All right. Now, this is what I'm gonna say. This might be unpopular, and some people might not like me after this, but I just want to keep it real, keep it 100. Join these groups, but beware of negative energy in the groups. Okay. This is what I say. This is a story, like, for instance, we all do. I deal with anxiety, right? So back in the day, I had bad anxiety. So I used to try to find anxiety support groups on Facebook. We find these groups, and everyone in here is just talking like, oh my God, I can't deal with this no more. Oh my God, it's just so much, and I understand people feel that way, right? But you got to understand energy is transferred, it's not lost. So if I was seeing all these stories about just horrible stories about what people were going through, and guess what? That started to impact me. I started to experience some of those things. And one thing I just had to realize was like, man, the reason I'm experiencing all of these things because I'm literally absorbing the energy from other people. And that's what I'm constantly looking out for now. I had to switch my mindset and look out for success stories. And I had to eventually just get away from those people in that group and get away from that group. And internally it helped me a lot. So what I want to say is beware of people in negative stories. Some people in those groups may say, I've been working on cloud for the last 5 years and I haven't been able to land a job, or I've been working to learn programming and it's just not clicking for me. I'm not smart enough. And you may look at those things and be like, that is me. No, we're not going down that road. We're using these groups to foster accountability and really find people on the same wavelength. Like, yes, we feel this way, but guess what? We're going to work together to get out of this. We're going to be successful. You don't need to harbor that negative energy. So I hope that makes sense to some of you that, what I'm saying. But plenty of local hackathons, Discord groups, once again, local meetups, Slack. Everybody got a Slack nowadays. There's so many communities, even on the platforms that you go to, whether it's a well-known platform or whether it's somebody that's teaching on a Kajabi platform or whatever the case, teachable platform. They typically have a Slack group that you can get into and find um, partners, right? So other communities could be cohort-based programs. So like for Scholas, where they have 26 locations around the United States. You got Level Up in Tech. These groups and programs can help you really foster the accountability system that you need to really see within yourself that this stuff that I'm going through is normal. And I have the peers that are working hard just like I am. And that energy is absorbing, and I'm just going to move forward and push myself to the finish line. Your finish line may not be the same finish line as someone else. So you may see John get a job in 6 months on your journey if y'all accountability partners, and it may take you 12. But guess what? John's journey is John's journey. You still cheer for John, and still John still cheer for you. So when your time comes, y'all can look back and be like, man, look what we went through to learn, and we did it. So sorry if I'm talking a lot. I just want to just dial that in on y'all. What do you think, HK?
No, I think those are really important gems, right? The first community that you try might not be the right community for you, and it's okay to take a step back and to try and find another, because you have to find one that is bringing that positive energy, that is combating that imposter syndrome, and is setting you up for success. So I love that insight, and then I also love the point that a strong community that's going to build you up is not competitive, it's collaborative.
Yep.
Right? Your peers' success is your success. And it just reminds me of a number of years ago. I was I had a group of friends and peers, about 6 women who were all looking for jobs at the same time in the same industry. And what we decided to do was get together in person 1 hour every week and just talk about what we were learning, what jobs we were finding, practice interviewing each other, proofread each other's cover letters, for example, and also just be that accountability. Sometimes we would get together for an hour and just not talk that much and sit next to each other and apply to jobs. But that meant that we all, applied to 3 or 4 jobs in that hour, and we felt good and productive leaving that space. And to your point, it could have been competitive, right? We were all applying to a bunch of the same roles, but really it was about being collaborative, supporting each other, and knowing that we were all going to end up where we were supposed to be as a result. And we did. And some people it took 4 months, took me closer to 9, and that's okay, right? We all got to where we wanted to go.
Absolutely. That's all that matters. You get to where you need to go because your time is not their time. Your journey is not their journey. And you can't compare yourself to other people. All you have to do is just support. And off of what HK said too, you could build your own community. Let me tell you how easy it is to do that. You could post on LinkedIn today. Hey, I am studying the AWS Solutions Architect, or I'm studying the Azure was it 104 admin, or I'm studying the Google Certified Cloud Associate certification. And I'm looking for people who are doing the same thing and who just want to be accountability partners. We could do projects together. We can do practice exams together, and we can meet once a week. If any of you are studying the AWS Solutions Architect cert, join my Slack community. I'd love to have you. Before you know it, you'll go from one person to 20 people just like that. Because I guarantee you, you will find someone studying the same cert that you're studying. I guarantee it. And community can impact. So even before, so think about it. When I was learning on Linux Academy's platform, they had the community portion of it as well, where we can go in and we can kind of state our problems. We can go and kind of connect with the authors, the training authors that created the courses, etc. Then and there is where I was able to connect with so many people that were just like me, and even people who are senior that were taking the same courses, and even the courses authors, to build relationships, and even just to help me get over the hump and some of the errors and some of the problems that I was facing in the hands-on part. If it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have probably had the confidence to do it on my own, because guess what? Guess what we listen to when we're on our own? The imposter syndrome. So we need someone to help us focus on something else that can really help guide us to the direction that we want. And sometimes, well, you just never know who you'll connect with in those communities. It may be a person or people that come into that community that you just started, and you be like, hold on. Hey, man, I've been watching you for like 2 years. What? You're studying this cert too? Oh wow. Be the person that you've been wanting to connect with all along. And all because you made the post to say, hey, I'm studying this. Join this Slack so we can have some people that can hold each other accountable. All right. So
Can I just say too, Broadus, if
yeah,
I was interviewing you, if I was the hiring manager and you told this story about how you were, studying for this certification and you reached out to the broader internet community and then formed a study group and, got meetings on the calendar and everybody was supporting each other, like, not only is that showing me that you got the technical skills, but also you are an amazing teammate. Like, I want you on my team because you're going to bring us together, right?
absolutely. Absolutely. You want people that can foster community, can be self-sufficient and trying to find resolution, right? If you're doing this, you're really self-sufficient and trying to find a resolution for you to get past this problem. The problem that you have is, man, I need accountability. This imposter syndrome, this fear, this anxiety is stopping me from being consistent, stopping me from being disciplined. And I really need someone who is, the yin to my yang that can help me, and I can help them in the parts that they're weak in, right? So That's how we overcome the obstacles. And that's what we're about to talk about, right? So the common barriers that we see to that is shyness, time constraints, um, uncertainty, fear of rejection, actual rejection, just true anxiety because we don't know what the future holds. So some of the solutions that we have and HK and I worked on and talked about is really the number one thing is starting small, right? Lurk in the communities before participating. If you join in the community, once again, look and see if this is the type of community that you want to be in. If it's full of negativity, if it's all negative and drama and no action, get the hell out of there because they not trust me, this energy, I swear, this energy is transferred. Let me get the skill bit off there. This energy is transferred, it's not lost. The same thing, like if you on LinkedIn and your mindset tells you all the time you're not gonna make it, you're gonna fail, before I try this, what you're gonna do is say, before I try this thing, before I join this program, before I join this school, before I join this person's course, let me look at not let me look at how many people has been successful. Let me look at how many people are saying that it's terrible. That's where the mindset pushes you. So the negative energy that you harbor fosters you to look for more negativity. So now you're not even looking for the success. You're looking for, oh, let me see. Let me see if a person had a bad experience. Let me see if this person had a bad experience. And you pass 20 people that says they were successful with this course. You don't even pay attention to that. And then you go and find the person that says, oh my God, this course sucks. See, I told you. See, I told you. I told you. I can't do it. I can't do it. It's all that imposter syndrome and that fear that's harboring inside of you, where you need someone to push that positive energy into you to get that out. And when that positive energy gets into you, you like, yeah, I can do anything. Anything. So make sure you go into those communities to really just look and see who's in there before you really commit to it, right? What they're talking about, how they doing things. And also use time block for learning. So if you anything like me, sometimes I'll be looking at something and I'll be like, man, I gotta get it. So like you can just block your time, 15 minutes of learning. Like, oh, well, if I'm gonna give my an hour a day, let me just block 4 15-minute blocks throughout the day. Right. And you may think, oh, that's pretty easy. Yeah. And before you know it, you got your hour in a day and you making strides towards your goals. Right. So time block is really something that's going to help you stay consistent and be disciplined. Um, anything you have on top of your head, HK?
Yeah, I think that's really important, those points that you said. I think the other thing I would add to the kind of obstacles to overcome is, you know what, sometimes you're going to reach out to folks who you think might become your mentor or might
Mm,
open up a door for you, might be a part of your support system. Sometimes they won't respond. Okay. Sometimes they will respond and you might have a negative experience. And you know what? It's okay. Like you can move past it, you learn from it. So, just to share a couple of examples, I reached out to this woman I really admired. I wanted to learn about her career path, did all the things we talked about. Tell me your journey. I'll learn from you. Meet her in person for coffee. She clearly does not want to be there. She's got her timer on her phone. The
yeah.
alarm goes off after 20 minutes. She's like, well, gotta go. And so I was horrified. Like, she hates me. It was rough. But
I'm sorry.
no, I mean, I couldn't believe it happened either. But she turned it,
Oh,
I sent her a thank you email and I asked her to connect me to one of her connections, and she did. And
man.
that person ended up being so much more engaged with me, valuable to me, right? So, and a true support system. So sometimes it's going to be rough out there and you just got to move through it, and eventually you'll find the ones who are really going to help you out and support you.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense because I know when I was trying to get a role, um, I ran across somebody that was from my area, close, like really local, and I reached out like, "Hey, man, hey, I see you work at such and such, and I've been trying to transition into a cloud engineer. I'm in banking right now, but this is what I'm doing. This is what I've done. I would love to, chat with you about, you know, you working there, etc." And as I reached out, I thought like, yeah, this person's gonna be like, yeah, man, you from Charlottesville too? I'm from, or Palmyra, Virginia. I'm from Palmyra too, man. Hey, or I'm from Charlottesville. We're local.
Yeah.
Let's get a lunch, man. I would love to. And really, they just gave me this one-off sentence, like, hey, reach out to such and such. I was like, all right, and that was it. And never responded to any of my questions ever again.
Mm.
And the lesson was, I was like, everybody I connect with that I think is will be a long-term mentor, it's probably not, right? And as I learn now, he probably gave me the best information that he possibly could to help me move forward, because that information that he gave me led me to reach out to someone that was still local, and it helped me get in front of the people at Linux Academy,
Mm.
that allowed me to land my first tech role as AWS support. So whether his intentions were to help or just like, hey, get out my face, it ended up being for my greater good. But this is the thing, like everyone you talk to is not interested in being long-term mentors or even mentors at all, right? So
Hmm.
you have to assess the energy, just like you lurk around the discourse and the communities before you commit. Introduce yourself and kind of just catch people's energy and stuff before you commit to really asking them to be a mentor. Understand what they're about, get to know them a little bit more, and that way, even if the answer is no, you would know them enough to understand probably why. Like, oh yeah, man, this man got, so much going on, and I understand why he said no, etc. Right. So yeah, I think in the end of it all, I think we need to get out our own way.
Well said.
We're out of, I'm still laughing at the lady that had the I'm sorry, Skay. I'm still laughing at that. But
It's okay. It was 8 years ago, and I feel like it happened yesterday.
but the moral of this is, right, you got to get out of your own way. All right. You have to get out of your own way. Everything will work for your greater good if you just believe. Nothing will go to waste. Your success will come if you don't quit. The problem is your imposter syndrome, your anxiety, your fear tells you that if it doesn't tell you you can't do it, it tells you that if you can't do it in a certain amount of time, then it's not for you. So some of you come in with the understanding of, I'm going to do this. I'm going to try this out now. But if it don't work in 90 days, it ain't for me. Then you might as well don't try it out, because you already still have in your mind that you're going to lose if it doesn't work in this amount of time. You haven't given yourself a realistic time frame to adjust to, even not even the tech that you're learning, but adjust your habits and your behaviors to thinking like an engineer, working like an engineer, learning like an engineer, right? So look, I just want to give y'all a recap because we're already at one, but
Yes.
you know, you know, time mentors, resources, and communities together for you so you can overcome your self-doubt. So make sure you're hitting all those three, reaching out to people who can give you some direction, right? Using those resources that we mentioned in the earlier sections of the talk, and really bridging those communities too, that you can foster accountability and meet new people every day. Um, what I want y'all to do right now, I want to see how many people will do this. Share one action that you'll take today. Put it in the chat. I want to see what action will you take today that you're going to use to propel your career. All right. And while you're doing that, I'm just going to make sure I grab HK's LinkedIn link so y'all can connect with her too, because she's an amazing individual. And
Thank you. Thank you.
y'all need to be rocking with her. Y'all need to get on the HK bus now. All right, let me see who in the comments. What are you gonna do?
We gave you some great ideas, right? Reach out to someone on LinkedIn to learn from their career path, set up an accountability group, go to a local networking event, sign up for some free resources and start learning and seeing if that's the thing you want to pursue further, right? Lots of gems in there of just a single step you can take today, tomorrow, sometime this week.
Yep. Now, if you want to reach out to HK, that's her LinkedIn link right there. HK
Thank
Howard. Check it out. Managing Director for Scholas Greater Boston. You see her face like this? That's her.
Yep.
All right. So make sure you reach out to her and make sure you reach out to us if you have any questions as well from this. Someone said I take deliberate steps on my LinkedIn for collaborations, and I already started on Try Hack Me already.
Love it.
That's great. Great steps. All right. So I hope this was super valuable for you. I hope you took a dive in and took notes and you actually learned how to build an ultimate support system for your tech journey. All right. We've given you so many things you can do. Take action on one. Any questions, reach out to us. But HK, I appreciate you joining me on this live. Appreciate, you just giving your gems. They loved everything that you dropped. And I know they were taking notes. All right. So I really appreciate you coming through and just giving all the value to them that they need.
Thank you so much for having me and honestly for pushing me to do this. It was a lot of fun. And I learned a lot from you as well. So thank you. Thank you.
It. Hey, y'all, let's continue to level up for 2025. Let's continue to push ourselves to the next level. All right. See y'all later. Love y'all. Bye.